다 간단한 거 되어와. 딱 뭐고 있는 거 같아. 딱 제가 저는 딱 공지해야 돼. 남보게 want to mandova. 루이야랑 세명랑 나야랑 나와 손들다 맞춰 봐야 돼. 이거 뭐라. 이거 딱 그런 가시 공지해야 돼.
So yesterday we were in the mind training section of the main practice of cultivating bodhichitta, the enlightened mind, and in particular we got to this line that said, rest in the ground of all of the essence of the nature of the mind. And so this is meditating on ultimate bodhicitta, the ultimate nature of reality. And so let's start today by meditating, and do not let your mind get distracted by discursive thoughts. And rest your body, rest your speech, rest your mind naturally, meaning do not fabricate anything whatsoever, and just rest in the ultimate nature of the mind as it is.
So we can move maybe 5 minutes. Okay. Tinida, Tucson, Tucson, Jumat, which the Tajitanga, so Omja Bigala, Namgyal, Jeto, Sayati, Yorwa, Namgyal, and Nanoda, is Yatu, and Omja. Teacher that any Jeto, so that Jeto, Tucson, Jumat, that Jeto, Langazo, Little Lega, in a tea couple in a huge send Tambo Maiba, Tabo Maiba, Jileka Chola, Karachi Lubi in a Casabole, Jumada, Roa, Tilijeke, then a Chapan to Young Cigarette, that old Jumada Jones here, Tabo Maiba.
So then there is this line that says, between sessions, be a conjurer of illusions, or maybe more precisely, to say, be a person that, a person of illusion, quite literally. And so, what this means is that we should see ourselves in all things in between sessions when we meditate in this way. In our session on the ultimate nature of things being truly non-existent and so forth, appearing yet empty, then in between sessions we regard everything like a dream. And there is this word for between sessions called jeto. It means post-attainment. So the way that we gain accomplishment is through continuing our meditation, through seeing everything as not being solid and fixed. So we regard everything as like a dream, an illusion.
Well, that is Tongdang Changju saying by that. Nibadala, Undo Changju saying is.
So then, this first section of the main practice is on ultimate bodhichitta, the ultimate enlightened mind, and then what follows is the practice of relative bodhichitta, the relative enlightened mind.
That not to Changju somebody going back out la. That not to that not to Japan. Drikung later sit Japan, Chowder Chambo, and then say a Joa, and then the law, Tambo Changchup Sen, the tissue like Yadanka, the Lama Gunshi, Langu, Chupulong, Oni Puyoa, the Chowder Chambo, Yokowa, Senin, Yorwa, what that is, the Najiki, the Netamazo. Changju Sembita, Minimela, Melody Invalid, in the Sanji Homo Tobachiwala, Changju Semivina, to Yayomarwa, in the Changju Sems, Ungo, in a Changju Sempi, Julia Javachiwala, the Chamba, the Ningi, the Changju Sems, Ungo.
So then, when we are practicing and training as a bodhisattva, then we cultivate the practice of bodhicitta. And in particular, if we look at, particularly in the Drikung Kagyu, but also not just limited to the Drikung Kagyu, there is what is called fivefold Mahamudra. And so this set of instructions is practiced a lot in the Drikung Kagyu, but also in other traditions as well. So in fivefold Mahamudra, there are 5 aspects to fivefold Mahamudra practice. And so the first thing to practice is the cultivation of bodhicitta, the enlightened mind. And then the second is to meditate on ourselves in the form of the Yidam deity, the enlightened Yidam deity of innate Buddhahood of the body. Then the third is to meditate on the 4 kayas, the 4 enlightened bodies of our teachers. And so these include the Nirmanakaya, the emanation body, the Sambhogakaya, the enjoyment body, the Dharmakaya, the body of reality, ultimate reality, and then 4, the Swabhavakakaya, the essence kaya, which includes all in one. And so there's the 4 kayas of the Guru, then there is Mahamudra, the practice of the Great Seal itself, and then in the end, the 5th aspect is dedication to bodhicitta, Yidam deity, Guru Yoga, Mahamudra, and dedication. And so, for all these practices, there is the cultivation of bodhicitta. And so, without bodhicitta, it is said, the enlightened mind of bodhicitta, then we can't attain Buddhahood. It is the cause by which we are able to attain complete enlightenment. So, in that way, we should have it. That being said, as we cultivate bodhicitta, there are some stages of how we give rise to bodhicitta. And this is done through cultivating first love, and then compassion for beings, and then eventually bodhicitta, the enlightened mind.
다 전부 공부를 치봐라. 다 전부대 공부도 다 로장고와 뭐 트레이닝. 로장배 까불라 다 간이 장벌라나 아주 공부라고. 당보들라 보다 나다로 되게 전부 공투고요. 뒤인데 다 당보야 전부 공부 까불라 장배 까불라. 근데 가세버렸더니 예사질라. 장고고요래. 되나
So, when we start this progression and train in love, compassion, and bodhicitta, in the beginning, it's not always easy to have love for everyone. And so, as we train in the thought of love, then, if somebody's like, well, just, love your enemy. Love that person over there that you hate. You're like, I can't do it. So it is said in the beginning, when we train in love, then we should train towards those that we already, have close to us. Those people that we have near and dear people.
다들 집을 집어라 당봉가서다 랍고 거래. 그래 나 빈치가 되게 아마차리 거래. 뒤에 대라 가서다 로 장야 치더라. 근데 준비면아 루스 장야 요레스.
So then, when it comes to this type of training that's used to develop bodhicitta, there are what are called the 7 pith instructions for generating bodhicitta in terms of the cause and the effect.
다 tel라 당보대 말해봐. 진템바 진소와 이용원지 참바 인기 학삼 창접 셈스 눈차리요です.
And so we could translate these as the first one of these 7 pith instructions for generating bodhicitta as first seeing all beings as our mother.
이나다 particular than all beings meditation 상관에서 단다요.
Okay, so seeing beings as our mother.
No beings. The
Tanda kiya ama.
or 단대가 아마 통신거라 말해봐세요.
Okay, so the kind of like early way that we do this is to think about our own mother first. And then the second is to think about the kindness of our mother. And then the third is to have gratitude and want to repay our mother's kindness. And then the fourth is to have love for her, wishing for her happiness. The fifth is having compassion for her suffering. The sixth, we could say, is having kind of a special intention, altruistic intention. And then the seventh is generating the mind of enlightenment, generating bodhichitta.
다 담보디 나온다. 맞아 말해봐 세야 돼. 이렇게 모르겠어.
So then this first one, thinking about, knowing, being aware of our mothers is, really, really important.
So everybody knows your mother, right? So, 이나다 담보디 대신 거서라 나서야 돼, 랑서야 돼. 헤드 나라 자치 묻히고 나가라는데 나서야 나야 보인가 나가라는 택해 지고와 나라 세야다 나서야 돼. 개치 묻히고 내가 휴지 출도 하고 그랬어. 이나다 대거두 나 가내용 거래요. 나 가내용 거래. 개치 묻히는데 important 가내용 거래. 성당미나 아마 in something as Ahmad oh, this is my mother. Oh, how cool. Inaya Yabo Samodana, something as Mad Hiramo Hingyo Maris. Mohingyo Madu, Kalimano, Mohingo.
So, in general, when we, think about ourselves, we think, oh, there's me. Here we go. This special person. It's me. What was it? It's me. I'm so special. And we regard ourselves as more special in our life than pretty much anybody else. So we're always thinking about ourselves. However, and if somebody asks, who's your mom? We're like, oh, it's my mom over there. But we don't really think about our mom in relationship to ourselves. If we really wonder, well, how did, if you're so special, if we're so special, how did we come to be? And then it's like, oh, my mom, my mother. Without my mother, I wouldn't have come to be. And so, we think about our mom, we have our mom on our mind sometimes, but we don't always think about our mom as our, source, how special, she is at being the source of where, we came from.
제가 나기 때문에 다 마테다 가서 내가 저러고 있다. protection 치료를 가서 찍다. 샤다 바꿔서 가리나 사야 동양식이 되는 이내용다 뭐네 즉 단달랑 가서 샤요 가서 텐전물을 나오는 텐전물을 다 가서 고요리 에너지 요리 다 그래서 망고지 요리 텐전물 이내에 중요한 게 뭐로 no differentiation your matters.
And so our mothers have not only given birth to us, but they protected us. They took care of us. Oh, Jay.
No different mom shali chumbare, mom kali chumbare, mom kebale chumbare, shabai maris.
Okay, so excuse me. So our mothers and us, if we think about our own, flesh and blood and bones, it actually came completely from our mom. Our mom gave birth to our form that had flesh, blood, bones, and so forth. There's no, difference. She literally gave us, the life. Her flesh, blood, and bones became our flesh, blood, and bones. And so we think about, our precious human birth with its freedoms and advantages and energy, its capacity to do all these different things came from our mother.
근데 다 마스야. 하고야 is 마스야. Not enough to just mother's name. But 정말 중요하게 하고 있어.
So, it's not just enough to really know, the name, our mother, to say, oh, that's my mom, but to know that we came from her.
That is the first was first 하고 마마예요. 근데 다 진짜 봐서 다 안에 가르치고 다 성공하고.
So then, the first one is seeing, recognizing our mother. And then the second is thinking about the kindness of our mother.
That is 다 아메리게 까지 가시 장르와 다 성공하고 다 마지스 마음으로 마음이는 상하고 experience. 진 담보니 직북 차비 내가 뭐와 내 손에 때네 이렇게 나타 전에 직다 protection 그 기치들 간디 사고와 간디 동고와 저랑 간디 지고라 소리 때네 다 빼면서 디테일 항상 is.
So if we think about everything our mother has done, from the very moment we, were born, our mothers have taken care of us. When our bodies were uncomfortable, when we were sick.
나는 되게 있었는데 한번 데려와. sense, 봐. bodhichitta 데려와.
bodhichitta.
야, bodhichitta 차와. bodhichitta 책무를 조람지가 들어와. 조람 가이오리스. Before the born.
Oh, yeah. 아마 기고가.
네. 아마 고칼 가이오들라. 다 담보가 아마라 가이오리스. 나사요리스. 이나 아메케다. 가서 bodhichitta. 가르사고요, 가르사고요와 저런 간지 지구요와 다른 바 신요와
Oh, no. So, correction. So, from the moment our mothers even realized that they were pregnant with us, our mothers, had to deal with kind of, different types of like morning sickness and so forth and uncomfortability. And really thought about what they could do to take care of us even inside their womb. What to eat, what to drink, what not to eat, what not to drink, and did all kinds of things to prepare for us so that they could, take care of us even before we were born.
But you guys are probably moms, so I think definitely clearly under, so you have experience. So yeah, how, difficulties, mom during the pregnant, so normally I headache or, take medicine, I don't like this. But mother, sacrifice, no matter if not sleeping, only thinking child, right? So no matter this, difficulties, but really not thinking themselves, only thinking the child. So also this be compassion, right? Or maybe love, okay? Love is like 100 different doings, right? You wonder what it is. So yeah, just love, I love this person, I love this, that, But the mother's love is best example and highest love to the child. So normally everybody maybe have love or compassion, but still means first. I love this person, I take care of some, I give some. That's normal. But we always never sacrifice for others. But except mother can sacrifice 100% for the child. So, what the thing do? The team is that in that Haku given a Kamikasi. Jay Sabi should that in that Tananga to Chimbo Chapoli, Malay, in a young go Karsana to give in a couple of Zundua. Not to country to go Maricala, to go Malay to work on well, Tezumdo, Kochi. The hit the water is road in a young Ogo. Ogo is. What can I really? Just born right. Either no function look like dead. But also not mother take care. They are killed immediately.
So then when we think about the kindness having been born that our mothers show us, we might think now like, oh, we're big people, we can do this and that. What's the big deal? But if we think about when we're a little child, we need somebody to provide every last thing for us. What to eat, what to wear. And if we look at a newborn baby, they can't do anything. They can breathe, but other than that, they're completely helpless. If they're left alone by themselves, they won't make it, and they're completely dependent on their mother and so forth.
Right, we see, so just child born, like this, maybe they're dead, but we can say because they cannot do anything, look like dead person. But except they are breathing, right? So we cannot say dead, but also we cannot say life, we cannot do anything, Or also, if mother not take care, probably maybe within 1 hour they're dead, So that is sometimes we sometimes we go that and the job on the relationship with mother. This issue is in a young really is the go tandi issue some mother chine one mother keta mother job no the down mother keta yakano chita yoris.
So, it's interesting in the West, a lot of people have
Sometimes.
They can have some serious, relationship issues with their mothers, and it can be very complex and so forth. But on the other hand, the mothers have gotten us off to a start. And so once they've done that, they've at least given us a chance in this world. They've done that major thing.
What that is, that mother, the somebody, that the most important part is contemplate. What's meditation? Amakadi chimbo yimi jumsen, reason, some matamina. Was just my mother be teaching what it knows samina. How to maris.
So the most important thing here is that we really contemplate this. If we just say, in our minds, oh, my mom is so kind, she's kind, she's kind, she's kind. But we don't really feel it, and we don't really think of why she is kind, then that's not the way to do this. We need to really think about it, like, how is she kind? What does she do? And feel that kindness.
So maybe again, maybe time a little bit safe. So Hamaona, Jorantla, Roman Legmasana. The story, are you telling the story? Correct me, okay? So one day this Lama and the teacher, so disabled, so one kind of basically retreat tent, and he has teacher. So the retreat tent,
Retreat.
so he invited Lama. So he gave something special called, not really Tibetan called this trauma, I don't know, something, a root in the sweet potato, put a lot of butter. So that's special food for Tibetans. So then the retreat tent prepared the food, bring the butter, right? So the Tibetan usually like many yaks, so butter the big chunk, like maybe yeah, at least 20 pounds big. But his butter looks like kind of like this kind of like small tiny pieces together, like not big chunk, So little bit like this, then sort of like big chunk, but his butter is really strange, with like small pieces like together, small pieces together. And then Lama said, "No, why this your butter is kind of strange, just small pieces." So asked to his the retreat. So yeah, then mother said, "Okay, my mom has one yak, one D, female yak. So then they make butter, so not much milk, So one yak, so he each make like small pieces butter. And they sell for him, so every day they got maybe 50 ounce, whatever he got, he put together. And the next day, then sending to his son, So mother, how much, even though maybe he didn't eat that herself. So then the Lama said, okay. So you visit your mother. Said, no, the retreat tent is very important, so I not give up the retreat tent. So I didn't see a couple of years. So then Lama said, okay. So you now maybe 1 week, just you meditate, contemplate your mom. So other just pause, whatever you retreat, whatever you eat them lady. So then he did. So but then he start, the first day start, how can the mother contemplate, So then he understanding he cannot, second day he cannot meditate. So then this Tucson, he cried all day, crying, then see the Lama. Oh, okay, I cannot meditate, contemplate my mom. I really want to see the mom. So Lama, right, okay. Go ahead, you see your mom. So I think, as we said, sometimes we not practice. How come? We don't know. So yes, of course, everything, mom is kind. But sometimes people, even with their difficult relationship with mom, like, we grow up, so that's the issue. But so that's why we can. It's really important dharma and how develop love, So first, like mom, the story, and then. So that tijela amatena.
So then, here in this progression, the first instruction is to recognize, think about our mothers. And the second is thinking about the kindness of our mothers. And then the third is, remembering that kindness, then wanting to repay that kindness.
What team that Kachiku, Haku, Mabrochiku, this. Then that sometimes also these the ancient traditions, or I don't know, not really ancient, but like Asian, I don't know, maybe here to West. Ngazo that Pamala be Zachambu, Haminyam today, I mean, Uruachi, Tinichi Yorwa.
So, these days in the West, who knows, but especially in the olden time, the old times in Asia, and maybe also in the older.
Yeah, not only Asia, I got everywhere,
Custom in the West, but maybe not these days. But, the parents were regarded as really, important and sacred, and, helping them out and like living with them and so forth was an important, custom.
So also I grew up too. So this actually the food, something special, always pious, whatever special drink, whatever eat food, and really take care, also the opportunities to practice. So children, of course, they are young, they don't have time to learn practice. Really busy, take care of children. Also, these days, only 2 children, right? Maybe 1. But used to in the Tibet, we have 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So there's no practice. But then children grow up, they have become old. So they really focus on practice. And the children take care of everything. But he has already changed it, but even though Asia now is changing, so they got jobs and new time. So anyway, so that lead to that Hungarian, American tea or Hakone, that he can whatever, will be and tea, the application what it is.
So, regardless of how, we, repay their, our parents, maybe it's not exactly the same as kind of older times, but, here we should think about and contemplate how we can repay the kindness of our mothers.
That issue, that Tindiji, Amatella, Tinchambu Yimba. Tindiji Tone, that's all the Yuan Chambala, Yuan Chambadella, Yitung Chambazeta, Kitan Wachiarawa, Jik Chamba, Zewa, Kitan the Yuan the Dingazoji, willing to Amala Wachiala, Job no Maibarwa, Karsetaji, Gai Shindu, Joy Shindu. One Tindiki Lekabe, Yitu Yoma, Rabe, Tindiki, what Zewa Chimbu Katone, never what it is.
So, the fourth here of these 7 instructions is to have love for our mothers. And so, recognizing the kindness and wanting to repay that kindness, then we have love, we have this feeling of closeness, and this willingness to want to make our mothers happy, to want to make our mothers feel joy, and so we're willing to do whatever it takes, so that they can have a good experience.
There was a tension, not so morning. A mother of Pachirikala. Big draw out of I'm not told that Heropen joy, the new girlfriend, boyfriend, or told that I don't know, I don't know. She feeling the Euro, peace or no, I'm not watching it. Zawano, oh no, the willing to lead you go, tomato job, so the case of, I take care of the food, but တော့မင်းနဲ့တင်မှာတော့ဒါလည်းယုံမောချင်ပါလို့ပေါ့
So, this word of kind of, how would we translate this in English? Kind of, you know, deep, you know, kind of, we don't want to say attractive love, but more kind of like enjoyable love. And so Drupon says when, you know, especially perhaps these days, it'd be different sometimes, but you know, when people meet somebody that they have like a romantic interest in, and they first meet them, then you know, every time they kind of connect with that person, it's like this, like, you know, really, you know, fun thing, and they think about it all the time, and it's really, you know, enjoyable. And so, when we help our mothers, we should, you know, take delight. We shouldn't just be like, oh, gotta drop off some groceries for mom. You know, mom's taking care of this, she goes. But like, you know, really feeling like, oh, I'm gonna help out mom. See mom good for, you know, her favorite things, you know, and have like, you know, love with, you know, kind of love our moms with, you know, delight and joy.
So also this everything is done my own mind, you know, so willing to, happy to see her, or happy to, whatever you do, or give something, whatever money, or how, whatever. So also not only kind of material, only physically show up, but like deeper way, how we can pay back, you know, mothers pay back, is very difficult, you know. That's kind of, one hand is karmically, we are big dead, you know. So mother job too tremendous to us, so we have to pay back, you know. So just you pick up a house here, there, it's not enough. So really kind of sincerely joyful, and so that's just like for example, maybe, you know, daily your job, so something you see or want to see like important part. Maybe there's everybody have different jobs, different need to do things, but you want to see mother is most important job, you know. So that's all like keeping in mind is most important. That really that's gonna stop it.
So then, the fifth of these 7 instructions is to cultivate compassion towards our mother.
That is that ninja jisi you did that chikare, chik ninja jikore. Amal ninja kasi or labina, penatazumudua, pena. I make a book jig to the tune on home only. In Amatella cook has a new dot, Moranki Jaja to Buyonare, Menare, Kantayan, Jig, no dot, tune on Chunji books. Yatea Charichi. In a mission by some bungalow or net to Sare, to Samare, Maranki Jaja to Gure, to the Mare. Should they go Kasi or danger Kasi or some Mombo Angry Motorwiki, who talks Chigmaro. In a mother India can lead your lavina, Tilly Amala in your days. Tilly in the Amala Ninja Tinuna, near Amalaka, the Zombie Amalaka, in Sakaras Chigos and to use this.
So, when it comes to having compassion towards our mothers and their suffering and so forth, for example, when, you know, a mother has a child, and say that child, you know, falls into the, you know, the water, like some,
Or river,
like a river, a rushing river, the mother doesn't think, oh, you know, do I know how to swim that well? am I actually going to be able to reach the child? The mom doesn't think that. The mom jumps in to save, that child right away. Other people might think, well, maybe I don't actually know how to swim that well. I might not actually get to the person. Maybe I'll get something else, or and they're like, well, if I can't save them, should I even bother? But moms don't think that way. Moms are just like jumping right after their kid, like, I'm gonna get you. Yeah. And in the same way, when we have compassion for our mothers and their suffering, we should be willing to engage in any sacrifice so that we can help them.
Wada tindi ta tindi je amala kadi chi lo jang sona tene nga ta ja cher som tang gu wa ja cher som tang gu le ja che zi ta ma zu ki chi kar se gu le na sa sang ina de cho ji me ina de lu bin ja ina de ta tindi som ta ja cher de tang gu su do tene ji lu ba ina de tene ji ta to yang tene som ta ne tene Simjian Tamji la, then it's on Mango Yoris. Simjian Tamji, there's a reason. Okay, Maram Maris, not the Jeva the Jigule Maris. Jeva Jata Montalan Yoris. Jeva Jata Montalan, Nala, Mayori, Nala, Pucci, Yori, Nala, Mutual, the Casa, Pachi, Yori, Amachi, Yori. Tindi in the top, Kokati Chipati, something. So Simjian Tamji, Nation, Simjian Tamji.
So then, when we think about, this kindness of our mothers, loving them, wanting them to be happy, having compassion for their suffering, wanting them to be free from suffering, we start by thinking about our mothers. And then we expand this love, compassion, and so forth towards not only...
Also, of course, you truly realize the really calm chasana.
So when we have gotten to this place where we realize how kind our mothers are, then we start to slowly expand that, to others that are close to us, our family, perhaps our partners, our children, and those around us, in our neighborhood, our district, our city, our state, our country, the world, and eventually we expand it towards all sentient beings throughout the entire universe. We train to this way. And it's not just that, we regard, beings as being, these kind of distant beings, but we recognize too that all sentient beings throughout the universe have at one point in time in all our incalculably numerous lifetimes been our mothers, they've been our fathers, they've been part of our family. Even though now they're not, our mother in this lifetime, in previous lifetimes, and all our hundreds, thousands, and countless lifetimes, they have been our mothers. And so it is appropriate to regard all sentient beings throughout the universe with this kindness, and wanting to repay that kindness, and so forth. And so thus we train.
And also another thing is the when I'm so young, when or Hamatimi Tronsu Winaya, to Gawachi Gala, and Amalaya, Mowachi, Amatochi, Senjatam Mowachina, Ama Kawaji, and Ama Hentogre Sundoa, Amalaka, Jimmy of course. Inai ama sanjesa inai na penguris amek senjatum chia lu chia is in the matter of ama honina adon amici sono tan suta positive gawa kai chiyuna ya kaya bo kai chiyuna ne ameka moya kitchen is.
So then even if our mothers, and when our mothers pass away and after they've passed away too, we can still dedicate our merit and virtuous activities that we do to help them out. So we dedicate the merit and virtue that we do not just for our mothers, but all sentient beings, but thinking especially about our mothers, but also all sentient beings. So, to help our mothers wherever they are, in whatever life form and so forth. And even if, our, mothers attain complete Buddhahood and so forth, we can still dedicate, the virtue, to, help them and all sentient beings and so forth. And so, this goes for, not just, our living, parents, but even after they pass away, we can still, work to repay that kindness.
Then I'm alive in a money, I'm alive, Rochia, vacation curious. In the Tinayate, to Suchigua, Amada, Monti Amayuna, looking what Chadi or the Jig, Amatima Jig Gabi in a take merit something which our jig, countless no charm of yours. The name in and go taking up a Karina, Amala Zavachia, Amala Chia, the kitchen ways is.
So, and definitely, if our mothers are still alive, to help them, especially if they're, older and so forth and need help, to really, work to help them and take care of them through whatever, methods and ways that we can. The merit of that is really incredible. So we should really strive to take care of them and help them.
There are opportunity amata New York and what you can free country jigda American win jigna de Mongo York Lela War. In a young Mongo Jilla Lela Yomers, I'm a young 2 years to pay a couple yours. In a young Podati, the job on Lela War.
So, and in particular, people here in this country, it's a free country without, obstructions on, where you're allowed to go and so forth. And so generally it's pretty easy for most people, to get, the means to go, visit and help their mothers. In the rest of the world, it can be very difficult sometimes. Sometimes the separations that people experience between their mothers are, vast distances and all kinds of, complications there can be.
Like for instance, in the Tibetans, so hundreds, thousands escaped from Tibet to India. So they cannot see the monk, they really want. So this like the idea is okay, they can education, can study, they can jobs, but every single person they want to see the monk. So that is like, but they cannot, not allowed to go Tibet, not allowed to see the monk. And particularly these days, even though you cannot call the monk, even though monk is alive, So sometimes, not everywhere opportunities, so very difficult, so they're very kind of very sad, mom died, cannot see, particularly me too. So basically I'm not really attachment or not, I don't know, not really, I okay, I am Tibet, I okay, I'm India, I okay, so not really specific, I want this one, I want it. Of course, when I grow up, I remember my hometown, everything, but only just, I want to go to Tibet. So just, the reason is that my mom, kind of like, then later on, mom passed, sort of like, that's sort of okay, I really just kind of completely changed in Tibet, So the mom is passed, so so not only me, so really hard, so but I say, so you guys, mom is alive, so easy to see or take care, I think that's important. So, but don't have everybody that's opportunities too. So not only Tibet, so many, situations in the world. Okay, so that year, what that 인제 다 들어나 이래. 다 맞죠. 참바든 인제 세야 다 develop 해야 와. 다 디토라 카리오레 있어. 다 맞죠. 야, 샘 트레이닝 하는 거다. 샘장야 샘도 친구 샘이 야보이냐. 다와 탐진 친구 공공 탑을 치워라. 그냥 다 가장 중요한 일이 먼저 차강 세야 지거와. 차강 되게 다와 탐진 친구 토통 용어와. 근데 다 맞죠. 즉 단기 그냥 말아 소리 근데 기부 많이 봐. 되네. 다 맞죠. 잘.
So then, we need to make our, continue to develop this love and compassion until our minds become stable and strong. And if we are wanting to attain the omniscient state of enlightenment, it's not enough to, still, hold on to strong attachments and aversions and so forth. If we have strong attachment and aversion, concepts, bias, and so forth, then, we're not going to be able to reach enlightenment. And so, not only should we develop this love and compassion towards our mothers and those close to us, but we should extend it to all sentient beings, including and especially even those that we regard as our enemies.
Maybe before we have some questions, comments.
I had to share your story about the jumping in the water. My grandmother, she never goes in water ever. When my uncle was in the ocean as a kid, he started to drown. Everyone was shocked because she went running in the water, and they didn't even see that he was drowning. And they thought, wow, it's the first time we ever see her go near the water, and she's running in the water, screaming. And this was like before I was born, but they still tell the story, as a kid, with like so much appreciation. Wow, it's totally true. She didn't know how to swim, but she somehow got him out of the water. And nobody else noticed he's even drowning, They're all just sitting there and they saw her run by.
I was just in Tibet and visited a lot of families, and there's still big families there. But it was really cool to see all the generations together, and especially the honoring of the very old people. That's super important. It's everyone sacrificing, just like you said, for that very older person. I even saw when I visited nomadic tents, the older people were out there, they're working with the yaks all day in the field, but the older people are there in the tent so they can come back and take care of them and feed them. I was really kind of blown away by that, actually.
I found this teaching today particularly moving. I think it's 51 years ago today. My mother gave birth to me.
Oh, happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
Yeah.
Thank you. And this is the 5th year that I've been without her.
I would just like to say that my mother passed many years ago, but she continues to come to me in dreams. And it's just the power of the love. And I hope that can happen with you, Steve.
Yeah, thank you. I mean, just having a sense like some of this stuff about, you know, that this body, right, was made from her body. And I think also that, you know, I have a way of thinking of myself as real swell. And that doesn't go beyond me, it just stops. And it should go to her. Thank you.
So that 대화, not the Ningyesiata, Joan Jitenzo that we don't have the parable, but the Lon Jitenzo, we are beginning parables, okay, Dala Dama Chibida, Nobel Chibige, Tamatanda me, what a Juba Chibatan, something there, what is yet. Geores,
So, do you know the one?
no.
So, when we are working to develop love and compassion and so forth along these lines, the master Jigten Sumwon has this famous prayer that sometimes it's in prayer books, maybe not this particular version, but the prayer is all mother sentient beings, especially those enemies who hate us, obstructors who harm us, and those who create obstacles on the path to liberation and all-knowingness. May they experience happiness, be separated from suffering, and swiftly will I establish them in the state of most perfect, precious Buddha, or something, a version of that.
That thing, that join not a Sanjay Koma top gona, Dala the Marchibida, say, Tayam, so Chimbu Gongule, Hindu Dilla, Harisena, Atacho, Nilsam Bangure. Cho Jig Dilla, Haratangu is Lavina, ngazo Sanjay Koma top Guyuna, Chanchopson Jim. Chanchopson carry Jigrilavina, not so choco to Moda with the love. Penny, Tenichin, Jelly of Marwa. Yin and Yang, Chanchopson carry Jelly or Lavina, Chilang, Agaki, Mandong, Chineke, Jelly. Today, come on, control long at it, Gadichimbo. Gadi Kandi Gadichimbo Lavina, Sanjay Komoto, Juchi. 그거는 이게 다 조현식 받아야 돼요. 조현식이 써먹다면은 나는 눈치채고 가리워요. 네 눈치도 가서는 나를 해당, 나를 차고, 나를 가져 이거로. 얘네들이 네 차고, 네 가져, 네 노선 대 가리서는 가리 매번 수투 그래. Raja Tani, a data compromism, data Hiram Machina, data Chodo Machina, Tani Hiram also. In the head, the new Mumbai, Meba Soya, top method, the Yakot, the Chabi.
So, in this prayer, it says, all mother sentient beings, especially those enemies who hate me, obstructors who harm me, and those who create obstacles on my path to liberation and all-knowingness. So, especially our enemies. And so, these enemies of us, normally if we have enemies, we don't like them and they're, not very great and so forth in our minds. But when we are trying to give rise to, bodhichitta, full and complete bodhichitta, the wish to establish all sentient beings throughout the universe in, the state of Buddhahood, to attain enlightenment, then they are the best. And so, from one perspective, to attain enlightenment, if we, are trying to expand our minds and expand our love and compassion and, altruistic intention towards all beings, to just, want to benefit, our, husband, wife, boyfriend, girlfriend, or, those that, are best friends, it's not, it doesn't make us, it's not a big leap, I hope you're happy, dear. Like it's, of course we already want that. But to expand our heart to those who hate us, those who are trying to harm us, then that makes us go beyond our relative thinking. And that is one of the, best, methods to expand our heart and our minds and cultivate bodhichitta to attain enlightenment. So they are particularly cherished and special. They are special. Without them, we couldn't expand our hearts. And so from the other perspective too, another perspective, our greatest faults, our greatest problems are pointed out. And we can understand them when we, have enemies. When we're around those that we get along with, we don't necessarily get that mad at them. We don't, our hidden, capacity to get angry and have pride and jealousy and so forth, it doesn't come out. But when we're around certain people, then, then they make us angry and upset. And so if we can overcome our hidden afflictive emotions, even towards, enemies and obstructors and so forth, then we really are purifying our deepest levels of anger and pride, jealousy, and other afflictive emotions. And so, again, they are, one of the best methods to work with, to attain, enlightenment, to overcome our hidden faults.
제가 나기다 대송벌에 이는데 나가서 재와치고래 그래서 나타나 제가 나기다 백문용 바요와 뭐들 해방 사고요와 퍼죠 그러면 들어가서 인계 공부했어 인계 가르 공부래 코라 뭐로와 코라 대화 녹이었어 이내야 코라 knowledge 때 라케노다 컴플레이션 고지 인계매와 재와매와 고 딘디지보다 갈색거리, wisdom, 세그와, 딘디 매바들 때는 그 mistake 치고래. 그 mistake 치기 좀 생들 때는 코라야 비kin 되고 동행하는 거와. 어디에 다 틀린 인기지 기차서 다 코라게 하고 있는데, 다 뭐니 인기지에서 코라를 해 코라 동행 미용효, 코라게 배 갈색거리. 딘디지 때는 자와지는 장국 유사에서.
So another, way that we can, cultivate love for, those that might get angry and upset at us is to really have compassion for, such beings. All beings desire happiness and wish to be free from suffering. But some people, they don't know how to have it in their heart. They don't know how to love, they don't know how to be compassionate, and they have no wisdom, no discrimination. And so they, mistake, they think, getting upset is, the thing to do, to have anger and so forth. And so when we see this in others, we can cultivate compassion and love for them, because instead of, finding happiness, they're creating the cause for suffering. So we can have compassion for those going through strong afflictions.
제가 나기다 좋아지 대송공 대송벌에 파워라도 세요 딱고는 개방아 시그레트 인스트럭션. 제가 가르쳐서는 가서 파워 세야지 차야요래 송벌에. 다 파워티 카스는 지템비게 헤로도 파워도데 말이에요. 지템비게 때 파워세야 그 파워자는 말이에요. 그 문에 루저와 차비어에서 카스나 그 매직시비나 때문에 그 카스나 코로나 신디케지 니치 포그레 이가 나이 그 레메직 세와라 때문에 레디기 동행용레스 때 파워 말이에요. Apa the carries lavina ram magan ke yuli yarbo sonde ram magan ke jati ke thonda mando chibu sonde wa jati ke thonda mando koran thonda ban mando karsena ko jati na no batanya kisam tangu wa ram machi so kisam tangu 딩기 인들 다 되라 가르스나 다 다지 초나 바탕 비갑라 베네 책임 받고 야 라비나 근데 나나 배 가야 같이 야면 illusion 좋아 지마다 가리나 다 딩기 솔비나 근데 라케브로 라나 레야 사요 말에 그거나 이 티처를 참바다 니게도 옵니다 근데 다 계산시로 계산하고 in a data from a royal Magat, nothing in the area, in a data is not doing it on the wall. What that Tunisia is a power is
Paul Lado?
yeah.
Uh-huh.
That become the power, become be hero.
Uh-huh. Paul Lado. Uh-huh. So Drikung Sungun has the instructions on how to become a superhero, the instructions on how to become a warrior. And so these are different than what we normally think of as like a warrior according to worldly standards. In Drikung Sungun's instructions, a worldly warrior is actually a loser. That's a direct. Drupon said the word loser. That's not even a translation. So worldly warriors can be, are often losers because when, for example, they go and they kill their enemies, then in this very lifetime they can experience extremely negative consequences because of that killing. And then also that negative karma and pattern travels with them, and they experience suffering and the negative results of that in future lifetimes as well. And so they're really the loser. They lose out. They experience, extreme negative consequences. They don't win anything. So what is a true warrior? What is a true hero, a superhero? It is one when even in the face of undesirable situations, even when people try to harm us. So if we have some enemies and they try to harm us, for example, if somebody, uses harsh words or swears at us, and calls us names and so forth, if we can just meditate on the illusory nature of all, sounds and speech, and just not have any concepts about that, then despite all that negative, harm that they wanted to do to us and make us upset and harm us through, those words, we're not harmed at all. And we are an, undefeated, warrior. And so furthermore, in particular, when we can, meditate in this way with like love and compassion, then we become a true, warrior. Who, we're not harmed by enemies and so forth. We become invincible.
That's all Natsola according to charts or Buddhism teaching. And that's all lay say yori la word lay Kasan dictated that lay songwa. Tindu Kita, lay Samboyan yori, Ling and by your tea into that laying and body, what up? Chana yore, Yaya yore. Yin and laying and by the candidate Changri Lama, you know, China, chokes the Modana, every choke candidate Chibi, you know, Kotiba Changri, Pachina, Bena, the Zumba, or Chibato Yamachina, Tiba Changri, Gana Yeke, Tineta, Jingata, Jimboya, so Ramboya, Karimina, to some of Kubalas of Kalichina. Miguel Changrua. Yin and Yang, Miguel Chaya, should chill for Zama Zanchang, Sunyate, English Charlie. Then an India Chimbo teacher, then a deeper Chimbo shooting Sahi. Then another deeper Sahi, then Yanson Royaki, the body Sahi, India Chimbo shooting Jevina, then keep Tano.
So, according to Buddhist texts and teachings and so forth, everything that we experience in the world is due to karma. And there is, good karma and bad karma, positive karma and negative karma. And negative karma, in particular, can lead to, negative situations and so forth. However, it can be purified and we can grow beyond it. So, if we have done negative things and have negative karma, how do we purify it? How do we go beyond it? And it is through doing the opposite, doing positive things, doing virtuous things. When we practice according to the Dharma, when we engage in the 6 paramitas, the 6 perfections of generosity, patience, diligence, concentration, generosity, discipline, patience, concentration, diligence, concentration, wisdom. When we engage in mantra recitation, when we do the practices of the generation stage, when we do the completion stage, when we do, the Dharma practices of hearing, contemplation, and meditation, then we purify our negative karma when we engage in such virtue. But the most powerful thing that purifies our non-virtue is having great compassion. And so it's said, even if we have, engaged in, extremely negative actions, normally these actions will lead to rebirth in the lower realms. But if we have incredible, great compassion, then this can purify that negative karma and we won't be reborn in the negative realms, or the lower realms.
I think I know one story, but you have time or not. Maybe they
There's
go.
always time for us to say it.
Okay, so the related, also this is related to mom too, mother too, so. Can you, they have a way, don't you know this story?
I don't know.
This, Zowo promosia, Komoji, many in the protocol of the Damjuji is Sanji Damzen number 1 Sanji Zena.
Sanjay Zainam Kitapa, Sawu Umu.
Tene Mora, da Amaji the Puji Yoris. The Amaji the Puji Yodu. Tene, that he got like Yarak Kachigosana, Ameke Leka Mazuku Amala Kechatina, that he got like Park Leka Kari Children. 불길레가 지리어와. 지리어를 스테인스티네다 불길레마지다. 뭔가 파리가 카레라비다. 저런 파리다. 또 뭐고요 이나요. 저런 총장가래 라고라고래. 되네요. 그 총장은 온조종이를 라고 온조종이를 라고 온조종만으로요래. 이나 조종이 개성리스라요. 이나요 조종이도 저런 파리가 레비요 말했어. 저런 기어 말이 라고요래. 되네다 배종하라. 되네 뭐 지어와. 페나리. 되네 총바도 저런 파리 되네 말해서 저런 파리 점종하는 거. 되네 딜라 노블레 딜리치그레스 라고와.
So, this story goes back a long time ago. At the time of the Buddha Zenam, and there was this woman by the name of Zhao.
Yeah.
Her name, Ling.
No. Son's name is Pomo.
Oh, Pumo.
Yeah.
Oh, so there. Pumo's enough. Pumo.
Yeah.
Okay.
But name is Pomo, but his name.
Okay. So there was a woman who had a child who was named Girl. Pumo. Son named Sue. No, but anyways, this was woman was named or guy was named Girl, and so when this child was born, he grew up and he asked his mom, "What did my dad do?" He was trying to figure out what the family business was and so forth, and she would tell him all these different things like, "Oh, your dad was a merchant, he made these different, weapons, or other kinds of things and so forth." And, even though the child had a kind of affinity to, sailing on ships and so forth, it was like, is my family, my dad do anything related to like sailing or, and she's like, "No, not at all. No, he was on the land. He was a trader."
So this mom actually lied. So he wanted business with Burley or something. And then finally he done like many different this business, incense, Burley, walls, but finally somebody told them, "No, you're not those, but your father is merchant to business, the jewelries, go to ocean and bring
And to go find precious jewels from the island, to go find rare precious things. So like a treasure hunter.
So then because the mom named is the daughter or whatever woman, reason is, so usually this man's sons, what your father's job, use. But he sort of like, my son is not a man, not like a woman, so not necessarily to the father's job. So that's I think he's thinking, But anyway, so then, yeah, mom, you lie me, So I actually people told me my father doing this merchant and boat and what is that?
Treasure
hunter, so on this. So mom said, "Yes, that's true. But I don't want to go in the ocean. So our generations all die in the ocean. So I don't want to, So that's why I say I lie. But you do different things, and you just name is just woman, Just you can do not necessarily do your father's job. But he's very angry. And no, I just keep the tradition. I have to go into the ocean, I prepare companions, prepare the boat, everything, And then, so he leaving, so prepare everything. His mother still don't want, just the family hold son, So then son's very angry, why we are doing like a spacious day, but you just stop me. So then really angry and they hit the mother, he laughed. So he laughed. I think he then, of course, emotion, he died. So then the Papagadayana, so he has clairvoyant. Probably you know Papagadayana, there are a lot of stories. He has like clairvoyant, you know. So anyway, what he did is then the sound called the consciousness, sort of like hell beings or the hell realm. And then he saw this like kind of metal building, you know. So probably he don't want to go, but anyway, just get inside. And then he saw the fan like blade.
Kind of a wheel with a blade on it. A wheel of blades.
So there are a lot of people inside, and then it's just they said, okay, somebody kind of whatever. Then the fan comes down, and people just bled, cut all the body. So the guy, whatever man, whatever he saw, what is going on here, you know? Then this those people born here because of beating the mother. So the first is of course okay. So then he knows. So that's why whatever born here or whatever, so he's extremely worried and scary. First thought, second thought, okay. So I think not only me, like many people are doing like me, you know, beating the mom. So these many beings, how they suffering, how difficult it is, you know. So he thought, maybe that you can say, so then I could tap back, okay, this I have opportunity to tap back gas on stana. Today, tanga, ngajikus, the kasik yana ya, kasik on the top, chevamelus. Yina yang, that thing ye top of the time, Mungana ye, Leka Chini, Chatham, that they were charged. Some little bit could go out and draw it. And that because a fan coming at that shop, that matter, top of Namgyal.
The Mi Shantra.
No, not
Oh, Kong.
Tanga go close to Gagi.
Cutter is not Kong lay.
No. Commission Betty Chamber.
Yeah, Mi Shantra ki lay John. Kong Mona.
Yeah.
So then he actually had
Like second thoughts.
another thought, and he became joyful, and he made the prayer. You know, whatever you need to do to me, you need to cut my head into a million pieces. You need to cut my body up into mincemeat. That's fine. You know, let me be destroyed. But by this, by my sacrifice, may all the negative deeds of everybody who's harmed their mother, may they all be free. And so let this be a sacrifice so that they are all safe. And then he became happy, making this sacrifice on behalf of all those who acted the way he did.
So this complete despair thing. So this fence had up to like 100,000 feet in the sky.
So this guillotine wheel that was coming down to cut his head off, then as it got close to him and he thought this way, then it flew off into the air.
So we completely purify the heart karma, his karma. So that is the compassion power. They're able to, non-virtues, misdeeds. So they kind of like within a couple of 1 minute or whatever, they're able to can purify. Even though like tremendous non-virtues he between the mom and so on. So they're able to can purify the karma. So that's a compassion law or bodhichitta, how powerful.
Drupon, so is that kind of like this motivation of the shepherd and the king, the boatman? They say that Buddha had the shepherd motivation. He didn't want to get enlightened before everyone else, but then he did. Is that part of the power of this is motivation of compassion so skillful, and why it's so emphasized, like first having this bodhicitta motivation, otherwise you're not really gonna be able to actualize things.
Later, tender the antis, that wonder in a Kastana, so Chancho Santiala, Jahan Kahiti or what Karate, Gerwood the Wisinji, Nyamba the Wisinji, then looks the Wisinji, say a Sinji, Swamwa. When Gerwood the Wisinjina, around Tambo Sanji on top, then Sanjantam de Ropatia. Okay, we don't check. Second, the Karsana. 다 냠도 말았어. 냠낸치네. 심지어 냠도 뭐 상지고 그래. 상지 냠낸치. 되게 타마데 루스데 위생지세나 당보 루스데 셰퍼드 로 예르로와. 되게 심지어 탐지리야 상지 보고 도바지 되는 가지에 상지세다기 다다되게 실리버에서 이나야 통다가 심지 넘어 솜으로 이거로 전했습니다.
So his question, Tim's question, he was talking about, there are 3 different motivations for developing bodhicitta, the enlightened mind. So bodhicitta, the enlightened mind, is wanting to attain enlightenment to help all sentient beings also attain enlightenment. So there's 3 kind of ways we can do this. One is to be like a king. Another is to be like a boat captain. And the other is to be like a shepherd. So if we are like a king or queen, then we seek to attain enlightenment first.
He become king and take care of the subject.
Yeah, so a king becomes a king first and then takes care of all the subjects. So in this kind of sense, then we attain enlightenment first and then we can take care of all sentient beings and lead them. So a boat captain sails along with everybody. So a boat captain, reaches the destination at the same time that all the passengers on the boat reach the destination. So this is attaining enlightenment with all sentient beings. And then a shepherd, when the shepherd herds the sheep, the shepherd makes sure that every last sheep gets to the destination first. And so the shepherd walks behind the sheep. And so this is to make sure that every last sentient being, just like little sheep, they all get to enlightenment first, and then we can attain enlightenment fully. And so there's these 3 different levels of generating bodhicitta, or motivations.
Okay, so maybe we stop here.
Short dedication, please, on case to be. this virtue may achieve the all-knowing state, and may all
who travel on the waves of birth, old age, sickness, and death, cross the ocean of samsara by defeating all enemies, confusion, the cause of suffering. May the teachings of the great Drikung Rajashri, who is omniscient, Lord of the Dharma, Master of interdependence, continue and increase through study, practice, contemplation, and meditation until the end of samsara.